Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I am crafting with the Not Too Shabby Shop box of the month. And I'm really excited about this box of the month because just everything in it really speaks to me. And what's really cool with the box of the month is because we get so much, there's usually two sort of different themes that come with the box. So for example, the first theme that I crafted with was the coffee and books. So there was a 6x6 paper pad with matching ephemera, and 2 out of the 3 stamp sets that you get in the box of the month had that theme of coffee and books. And now I'm crafting with the second theme that is included in the box of the month, and that is the really fun kind of fall theme with, I guess, gnomes as well, because there's a gnome in the stamp set, as well as some of the fall ephemera includes a little gnome boy and a little gnome girl. So really, really lovely. And of course, everything is so well coordinated. And between the 6x6 paper pad, the ephemera pack that matches it, and the stamp set, there's just so much to craft with. And so I really love that there's always the 2 themes that we get, and it just makes it really fun, and you always get something that's a little bit seasonal, but then there's also something that you can use all year round too. So I really love that and how well the box of the month is curated every month. I'm on a little bit of a scrap busting kick where I am not only trying to use up the scraps that I already have, but I'm also trying to use up my scraps along the way. So these are some scraps that I have left over from my live stream earlier this month, and I thought I would cut them up into little squares. If you've watched some of the other videos on my channel, you may have already seen me create some scrap busting cards with a layout that I first saw from Terry, who is Mama Chorizo on Instagram. And I thought about using it again, but something else that I have in my craft room that I want to try to use up more quickly are pre-made card bases. I happen to have a bunch in 4x6, and Terry's layout was designed a little more specifically for USA 2 size cards. So I've just adapted it a little bit, where instead of having the row of squares run along 3 edges of the card, I've just run that row of squares along just the top and the bottom. And I can't fit a perfect amount of tiles on the card, so I've just had it go right off the edge to the left and right, and that sort of gives the look that there's this is just part of a larger piece, and that there's more kind of beyond, which I like the look of. So I think that worked out well. And even though I did use one of the pattern papers that has the a lot of typography, a lot of sentiments on it, I still want to add an additional sentiment. And so I picked one from the stamp set that has a lot of really lovely, I love how large these sentiments are, because I feel like they are great for how I'm using it, where it's pretty much kind of like the focal image in and of itself. And I also love the fact that there's a bit of iconography mixed in with the typography, so that you still have a little bit of an image there, but it's just built into the sentiment. And so I feel like it doesn't even really need any coloring. But I did want to use a darker cardstock, and so I am white heat embossing the sentiment on here. However, after I did this, it kind of dawned on me that I don't have any other white on my card because I covered the entire card base with craft color cardstock. And all of the papers in the fall paper pad, they're all very earth tones, and there isn't white. There's a nice kind of cream color. And so that white starts to look very out of place. And so I thought about it a little bit, and the solution I came up with was to pull out one of my archival ink pads. And what's nice about an archival ink is that it it's it does a little bit better stamping onto non-porous surfaces, and so it actually had the effect of staining the enamel of the embossed sentiment. So it almost made it look a little bit more kind of tea stained almost, because normally if you did this you would actually use embossing to do like a emboss resist technique where you could ink over it and it would retain the white, but the archival ink will actually stain it, and so it kind of brought down that white a little bit, and it actually made it match some of the colors because it pushed it a little bit towards the yellows, and ultimately it actually matched the pattern papers pretty well. So that was a nice kind of happy accident, and I'm glad that worked out. And so that's definitely something that I'll have to remember in the future, just using, archival inks or like a stays-on ink, that it works a little bit better on non-porous inks, and actually staining my embossed sentiments or embossed images. So the last thing that I'll do is just add a little bit of a matte layer behind the sentiment. I felt like with such a simple card and a simple layout, it'll help to just add a couple more layers and really make that sentiment not only a little bit larger, but also set it off from the background a little bit, because the background does have a lot of different patterns, a lot of different colors. So I thought it would help to make that sentiment piece pop off of the page a little bit. And so you saw that I was entertaining a couple of different options for the matte layer behind my sentiment, and ultimately I went with Craft because that's the base color of my card. And so that's going to pretty much wrap up my card. It's really simple. It's a great sort of scrap busting layout and really easy to put together. Definitely, I love that it almost mimics the cover of the paper pad too, because it's just that whole idea of, you get those little tiles of all of the different patterns, and then you've got that strip in the middle that runs all the way across. So just looking at it side by side with the cover of the 6x6 paper pad, it's not exactly what I was going for when I thought to do this card, but seeing it side by side, it definitely does have that appearance. So here's a final close-up look of my card today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I feel like I'm on track with keeping my scraps to a minimum. So let's hope I can keep that up. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.